So here we are. It's New Year's Eve, 2018. Got the Fortnite crew behind us here. We're all set up in the kitchen, all spread out. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this video up. I got wiped in Fortnite. So I'm gonna finish this video up, the best of 2018, doing the ASA and the U-Trip all in one video. I'm gonna do the ASA first, and then we will make our way into the U-Trip, of course, doing what I usually do, talking about why I picked what bat where. And with no further ado, let's get it started. So giving credit where it's due here, if you guys know me at all, you know I'm not a big balanced fan, and especially a balanced short barrel guy. But something about this Miken just really drove it home for me. The performance was really good, even for swing one. The 12-inch barrel, the whole thing was usable as far as the sweet spot goes. You could not mess with it. And for whatever reason, I could really just sit back and drive through a ball with this thing. Obviously, hitting off a tee, it's easy to do, but I did do some live BP with it afterwards, and I really did enjoy this bat. For whatever reason, it really fit my swing and worked well. Usually, most of my rant with the short barrel balance stuff is it swings really light, but this did good at swinging true to weight while still giving a good balance feel to it. So combining that with the performance that I got out of this thing, it easily had to crack the top 5 here, so I did put it at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is the Worth Border Battle Legit. I really like this technology that Miken and Worth are using. They had the Freak 23, which I did not get to swing, but I did get to swing this Border Battle Legit, and I really did enjoy it. This thing, if you're familiar with the U-Trip bats from Worth, this weighting-wise felt almost identical to the Jason Branch Legit. It had a good, nice inload to it, and it was a little bit tight. I'm assuming probably because it had some of that ASA tech in it. But the performance, you couldn't deny. It felt great, sounded incredible, and overall, I was really impressed with this bat. I'm so glad that Worth finally came around and did a short barrel inload for us inload fans. This did make number 4 only because I do feel like the performance could have been just a tick better, but I have no reason to believe that with a little more breaking in, it wouldn't be just as good as anything else on this list. So coming in at number 3 on the list is the Anarchy Awakening. As far as I know, nothing has changed really a whole lot with this bat from 2017 to 2018. Smash It Sports released some of these for 2018 as a limited edition, and since I decided to do some exclusives and things like that, this kind of fell into that category, so I did put it in the list. I really like this Anarchy tech. I really love that you can hit hard balls, soft balls, whatever you want with it. Its performance is good out of the wrapper, and it just gets even better with the more swings that you put on it, and they are durable. They last a while, so you can BP them, hit them with the hard stuff, be a little adventurous with them, and know that it's not going to break or anything. Really hard to go wrong with this stick, and that is why it made number 3. For number 2, we have the Miken Border Battle Freak. Really not a whole lot more to say about this bat than wow. This is basically a DC-41 in disguise, big barrel, full ounce inload. This thing was absolute gas from swing one. Performance was incredible. It felt good, it sounded good. Literally, I did not want to put this bat down. I could have just stood there and swung it all day long. You're feeling every ball explode off the barrel, seeing it come roaring off the barrel. The distance was there. I could still control this big inload. There is nothing about this bat that was wrong to me. It is number 2 for a reason, and I will get to that in a couple more bats. Right now, what we're going to do is move into a couple of honorable mentions, though. Up first is the Worth Ryan Harvey Legit. Same ASA tech that this Worth and Miken stuff uses, like I talked about earlier. I really do like it. Probably my only rant with this was it was a performer, but it needed just a tick more inload. I understand this is only supposed to be a half-ounce inload, but to me it could have used just a little more to feel like a true half-ounce and get a little more drive through the ball. That's probably the only reason it didn't make the top 5 list, but I felt like it was good enough to still make honorable mentions, so right here it is. Also, what we've got is the DeMarini Juggy. Never been a huge Juggy fan, but these last few years of the Juggies have impressed me. They've done away with kind of the whippy handle that the Juggies have really been known for. So just a little bit of touch and flex in these things. They are durable. They do hit well. Take a little bit of breaking in to, really catch up with the other stuff that's on this list, which is probably the reason that it didn't make it. But if you're willing to put in the time, this will contend with anything on this list. Number one, for this ASA stuff, for 2018, for me, my opinion, the BP hero, the Anarchy Demon. I know I just posted this review just a few days ago. If you're up to date with the channel, I was really glad I got a chance to swing this thing. This bat and the nitrous are very similar on paper, but there's a few subtle differences. There's a little bit of change in the center of mass, which gave this a little more of an inloaded feel to it. Even though it was a half ounce, it felt closer to a full, and if you know me, I like a lot of inload. And the handle on it was just a little bit stiffer than the nitrous, which, the nitrous did have just a touch of flex to it, where this had none at all unless you just missed it. This thing was amazing. Felt good. That big and low drove through a ball. Anarchy's got their stuff figured out. This Demon is no joke. If you're on the fence about getting one of these, let this video decide for you to get one of these bats. But enough about these ASA bats. Let's get into the U-Trip stuff, guys. Coming in at number 5 for the U-Trip stuff was the DeMarini Dale Brungart Juggy, DB44, whatever you want to call it. I can't believe more people weren't talking about this bat. This thing, you needed just a touch of break-in. I'm talking like 50 swings with some hard stuff. And then this thing was hitting lasers and bombs, man. Felt good, sounded incredible, great big inload. The only reason I didn't give this a higher score than it did was the fact that that Juggy handle still kind of gave you some of that funky feedback. If you did miss towards the end, it's not as bad as years past, but if I'm being nitpicky, there's so much good U-Trip stuff on this list that knocked this bat down to number 5. Next up on the list is the Miken DC41. Miken and Worth have been at the top of the U-Trip game for quite a while now, and now they've got another bat in this list here, which does not surprise me at all. Hard to go wrong with these things, especially these big barrels. The whole 14-inch barrel is sweet spot. Kills the ball. The big inload on this DC is back. These are a very, very, very good kind of entry-level bat for somebody, either A, looking into get into an inloaded bat, or B, just kind of get into softball, because these humongous barrels are impossible to miss with, and the big inload will do the work for you. And obviously these things are going to perform no matter what circumstances you put them through. After the DC41, we have the Easton Team Resmondo Fireflex. Easton is back in a big way. Last year, they debuted their Fireflex technology. It was good, a big step in the right direction for them, and they took that one step further this year. These things feel incredible. Easton is on it, man. I mean, it's unreal. They've got the performance thing down. Yes, they are just like everything else now, where there's hardly little to no break-in with them. But as far as performance goes, these things are right there at the top. Something that Eastons have been known for in the past, especially with their short barrels, is not being very forgiving. Not the case here. This 12 3/4-inch barrel was all sweet spot, impossible to miss. Really good performer. I broke the wrapper out of this thing and was hitting bombs right away. I can't give this bat enough praise, but I'm going to move into a couple more, and you'll see why this one only made number 3. So up next is the bat that I'm sure is probably going to catch you guys a little off guard, and it is the DeMarini Standard Issue. I reviewed the Twisted Mistress earlier in the year, and this has the same barrel as that Twisted Mistress, but a composite handle compared to the Twisted Mistress, which has an alloy handle. And that made all the difference in this bat to me. Not necessarily performance-wise, but there was a little bit of a stiffer feedback that I didn't care for with the Twisted Mistress that this composite handle with the Standard Issue got rid of. And if you remember my Mistress review at all, that thing was an absolute performer, and the Standard Issue was the same exact way. Hardly little to no break-in. This thing was hitting absolute gas. This composite handle made that barrel really forgiving, so you could work up and down it a little more, make this thing feel really good. And I'm so blown away that more people weren't talking about this bat as well. DeMarini made some big moves this year, and this barrel and this bat was definitely one of them. Before we get into number one, I do want to cover a couple of honorable mentions, just like I did with the ASA stuff. And the first one is the Louisville Slugger Z1000 line, mainly the Stephen Lloyd Z1000. The Jeff Hall and the Stephen Lloyd were something new for them this year as far as the Z1000 stuff goes. Lots of hype behind it, and it was a good performer. Both of these bats hit really well, but I did care for the Stephen Lloyd just a little bit more, even though it had less inload. It was a little more of a smoother, subtle feel. The Jeff Hall was really kind of sludgy, and for me, caused a little bit of inconsistency. So it was the reason I went with the Lloyd over the Jeff Hall. The only thing to me is I feel like there was still just a little bit of a drop in performance from this stuff compared to the top tier stuff, like the bats that are going to be number one and things like that. Not enough to make a world-breaking difference, but if we're getting nitpicky because there's so many good U-Trip bats out this year, that's probably the one thing that got this bat down to an honorable mention. And not to just, wear you guys out with inloaded stuff, I'm kind of breaking that up a little bit. We are going to go with the EST. We are going to go with the Worth EST Balanced Big Barrel Edition. I do enjoy a good balanced bat as long as it's got a really good smooth feel to it and still being able to kind of whip it and do something with it. And I feel like that this bat did that well. Again, with the big barrel, that's impossible to miss. Hardly little to no breaking at all on a good performer from swing one. Just the same as the Miken DC41. This is a very good entry-level bat for that reason of being so forgiving. And maybe if you're wanting to try something balanced, this would be the perfect bat for you. Number one for 2018 for this U-Trip stuff for the BP Hero is, in fact, the Easton Travis Clark Fireflex. The very first ball that I hit with this is the one that you see in this video here. Wow. This thing had a great big inload that just absolutely destroyed the ball. I couldn't miss with it, short barrel or not. Like I said earlier with the Resmondo, Easton's done a really good job of making sure the short barrels are now forgiving, and it's having this humongous inload. By far one of the most inloaded bats that I've swung in 2018. Combined with the performance of this barrel, this thing, I mean, you cannot go wrong. If you like a big inload and you really like these Eastons, you have got to give this bat a try. They're getting kind of hard to come by, so don't find yourself overpaying for one. But if you find one at a good price, you need to grab one of these bats. She's being bashful. She's sitting here waiting on me. They're giving me a whole bunch of crap because I don't think I'm going to get this done by midnight, and maybe I won't. I want to take my time, make sure I did a good job on it for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Stay tuned for 2019. It's going to be a lot of good stuff coming. 2018 was a good year. Let's make 2019 an even better one. Get yourself a stinking hat, and I'll see you later.